To my hair. Sorry. I am so sorry, my apologies. I got totally waylaid on the way down the hill by a salamander. Or it could have been a yellow spotted newt. I'm not actually sure. I'll have to go and Google it. But I'm so sorry, but I did post a picture of it. I wasn't sure what to do with it either. It's just been so wet that it's kind of just hanging out in the driveway, and I wasn't sure whether or not to take it down to the pond. But you know what? It looked like it was moving with purpose, so I kind of left it and hope that it will get to where it's supposed to be going. But I did have to just make sure it was a-okay, and it is. So Nick is picking up the mail and the packages, if there are any. I received a wonderful package that I opened on Saturday because I was instructed that I could open it, and it was a package to warm the cockles of a girl's heart. It was hardware, and Linda sent it in, so thank you so very much. I then spent the rest of Saturday morning wandering around and attaching things to fence posts because she sent in the plate that goes on a wall that's got a ring attached to it that you can hang hay bags from. Don't be telling Janine, she'll get upset. Hay bags. So double-ended snaps, which are always popular. And the funny thing was, I'd been going round looking at things and I kept saying, oh, there's a double-ended snap. I'll have to remember that's there. Because we've got them sort of planked all over the place. And the reason we've got them planked all over the place is because you do need them. And then when you go to look for them, you can never find them. And if you do collect them all in one space, what happens to them is people steal them and they use them for inappropriate things. So there. So I'm going to have to find a really good hiding space that I can actually remember. Because this going searching for snaps is an absolute pest. And of course, I had to go and hang up the reeds that Pam and Coral had collected. So I've got one in each one of the wire wreath attachments. So I'm down 4 already. Honestly, life can just be so traumatic, but in a very good way. So Carleen. Her dilantin level that I think we were keeping an eye on, it looks like it's gone a wee bit too low, and I'm still hoping she's coming home tomorrow. There's been no chit chat that she isn't, but it's gone a bit low, so all of a sudden they're going to give her 4 tablets just to see whether or not they can get her level up, and then she should be better. She doesn't sound like she's in as bad a state as she was when it was desperately high, but I'm sure that they would prefer that it was at the right level and not going up and down all over the place. And it's this dilantin, it looks like what we're going to have to do is make sure that it's tested on a very regular basis, because it's looking like it's very sensitive to dips and flares. So that's going to be another job that's going to have to be kept on top of. So we'll hold our breath for tomorrow, which would be lovely. Carl has come to stay, which is lovely for Sizzle. So they're in the White House together. So that will be fantastic. Give her a bit of company. Olaf did say that when he dropped her off, they dropped her off, they would actually these two got on really well, really good. Sizzle growled at him, and I found that quite peculiar, but he did say that she still had some breakfast left over, so that's probably what she's been growling at him about. So that's good. That's nice for Sizzle to have company. That will be absolutely lovely, and everybody will obviously be delighted to see Carl. So slobber cloths at the ready, because he does like a good slobber, does our Carl. So that will be lovely. And Olaf's obviously going down to see Janine for a little bit, which is even nicer. So that would be great. And what else is happening? Oh, good grief. Very heavy rain last night. And now it's a bit soggy, shall we say, underfoot. And we all know how soggy underfoot goes. That means it's a bit slippy. But it was very peculiar because yesterday we obviously have had the tail end, I think, probably of the storms that were coming up from the south. At least I'm presuming that's what we've been experiencing. And yesterday when I was bringing all of the horses in, it had gone from that sort of like, you know, there was a lot of birds singing. You know, before there's a storm, you get that sort of like eerie silence and the air is a bit heavy. So it's been really quite humid here, probably because the rain has just started coming in. And humility was totally and utterly knocked off kilter. He wasn't sure whether or not he was going upside down or roundabout, but he was not a happy bunny. And I was getting, hello my love.
Hello.
And I was getting to the stage, I thought, you know what? I've got everybody else secured, both farms, everybody's quite happy, apart from Humility, who was running around like an exceptionally silly boy. It was a bit exciting getting him to come in, because he was really not sure. And it's just funny how atmospheric pressure can actually, you know, it knocks some horses off. They're very, very sensitive to it. So look, I've got a great big halo above my head, so I'm having to sit here like this, Nick, with my crazy hair. So I thought we could tip it down there and go back a bit. There we go. I got it. There you go. You can have that seat now.
Okay.
So that's been all good. It was a busy weekend, doing lots of busy stuff.
That sounds like we were doing nothing.
It does sound like we were doing nothing. But you know what? By the time it gets to Monday, I can never remember what we've done over the weekend. Can you?
Yeah, I know.
But wait.
I know.
Penny?
Well, we went to Meredith. We did Meredith.
We did.
There's lots of things at Meredith.
Back up. Good girl.
We did...
No. What else did we do? We did the barns.
We did the barns.
We did.
We got new hooks for hay bags.
We did. There's been a lot of clearing up.
We've been doing a lot of clearing up.
Yeah, and it was really nice because Leslie and Brittany's husband and Brittany came on Saturday and they just helped clear up a lot of the
detritus.
There's been a lot of building mess. So we just wanted to get ahead and pick that up so that, you know, as the farm is looking much improved. And the only reason I know it's looking much improved is because everybody who hasn't been here for a while says, this is fantastic. I think when you see it, you don't realise how much progress we're making. Oh no! No, you're not coming in.
Close this so she can
She's a monkey because when she comes in, she steals things for her buddy. So I think that the problem is that when you're living on top of it, you don't see the changes, and you're a bit like, oh, we haven't done anything for a while. But Pam hasn't been here for a while, and then she and Jeff saw a tremendous difference. Claudette, who I have worked with for about 5 years, who was one of our long-time volunteers, she was here on. She was here on Sunday, and she saw such a difference. So it's actually really very nice.
Yeah, I think obviously there's a lot to clear up even just after the winter as well. So with all of the kind of winter stuff and leaves and stuff that's blown in from other places and branches and all that. But I'm just trying to do a little bit after doing the barns and stalls each evening, just cleaning up around the edges of the buildings, and there's a lot of hay that's kind of stuck to the edges of the barn and the entrances to the barn. Just like rake that up so it looks a bit cleaner and tidier. So yeah, a couple of weeks of that and we'll be in good shape. They came and took the trash today, and so it was good that the team at the weekend got a whole bunch of stuff in there, so that's made a big difference. and yeah, just a lot of stuff. And Bow did a wonderful job of
the driveway,
of blowing the driveway and the leaves and everything. So it's good. We're in a much better position, I think, than we were this time last year.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Mm-hmm. And it's just these little things that make such a very big difference. Mm-hmm. So that's been good, and the weather has really helped us until today, obviously, because today's just a bit soggy. It was so humid yesterday though, and it was incredible. The barn, inside the barn, all the woodwork was sticky. It's okay, I'll do the questions on here because we'll miss them out. All the woodwork was sticky, the ironwork was sticky. So, yeah, it was quite something. And it's quite hot because when you start moving, you're like, oh, good grief,
it was sticky yesterday. Yeah. It was very humid.
And it's just wet today. So, so that's what's been happening.
And it was good that there was that raid last night because the driveway was really dirty, with all the salt and mud and
sand,
everything from the winter. So that's helped clear that a bit.
Yeah. And I think also, and I know this sounds really silly, but I actually think we're still quite dehydrated in the ground area. Normally when the snow melts, we go straight to really, really awfully deep mud, and sort of mud that sucks the boots from your feet. I'm just not experiencing that. Not that I'm complaining about experiencing that, but I think that we're still missing a lot of surface moisture that we would normally have. So it's maybe not an awful thing thinking about our long-term prospects with hay and all that sort of thing.
Excuse me.
Okay?
It's all those animals I'm allergic to.
You're missing a part of your brain. You know what we're going to do? There's no mail apart from a box, and it's from Sue C. And I don't want to open it because it's addressed to... No, that's not it. Did you bring those in?
Yeah, those were from the other part, and this came today.
Oh, that's... it's for Carlene, and I don't know whether or not it's something that I need to open with Carlene. Right. Oh. Oh. What is that?
Oh, this was all in the car.
Oh, that's okay. I've been through that. It's all trash. I need to dispose of properly.
This was from somebody.
Oh.
That you opened by mistake.
This is from... this is for our little buddy, Dimitri. He has to have that once we do everybody's...
Who was that from?
That was from the lady who he was living with. Right. So this one here, this has just got Goldy's farm on it. And... Oh, I can't read that.
Carl's here.
I know, it's lovely. Oh, shop towels. I love shop towels. And you know, did I say to somebody about these? Thank you, Martha. That's really funny. This is really peculiar. I was speaking to one of the volunteers, and in fact, it was from both farms. I've said to two different sets of people and two different sets of farms. One of the things I really want to start doing is having a bucket with some warm water in it and a towel, and or several towels, and going round and just cleaning eyes, because the eyes are all dusty, they're a bit crusty, and now that we're not in danger of making anybody freeze cold, because you can see because you can see all the crusty dustiness, but you don't want to get them wet. This is absolutely perfect. So thank you very much. You need to keep those away from Mr. through there.
Somebody said...
I know, it's that one's got to wait. So I think this may be from Martha as well. Thank you, Martha. That's much appreciated. Those are great.
And the very prominent sign on the side of the box appears to have worked. Because they did put the box in the right place, so
So that was Cloud that sent those instructions. Oh! And now we also have this one. I presume this is from Martha. Thank you, Martha. These are hand towels. I might not use those for the animals. I might use those for people purposes when we're out and about on jobs. So thank you very much. Those are perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Do you want to swap sides? And oh, don't stab me. And I'll do the questions. Okay. It's really dusty at the moment.
Yeah.
If you're doing hay bags, etc.
Yeah, I just did the animals over at
Meredith.
You were all very soggy.
You do. Now, here we go. Oh, everybody misses Wanda, but Wanda will be back in about a week or so. So that will be nice. A marshmallow.
Must be in the light, no?
Could be my hair. Well, we're definitely practicing medicine. And this medicine's going to take lots of balancing, obviously. Yes, all of our medications have been with her, and they've been reassessed and rebalanced. That's obviously how they found that Dilantin was so badly off. And I think it's quite difficult because obviously she's had this reoccurring UTI that everybody's just been blaming for the balance issues, and you know, really would be suspicious as to whether or not it wasn't a UTI at all, but actually the Dilantin imbalance. So it's a real shame, because I do feel that once you get to a certain age, it's very quick. Everybody's very quick to jump on. She has a wonderful medical team, a really wonderful medical team. But I think sometimes when you've got previous issues in a certain area and your behaviours come online with what an infection, a misbalance, etc., etc. Sometimes they find one thing off and then they stop. And in fact, I don't even know that that's particularly an age-related thing. So obviously, at this point, it wasn't a case of they could stop; they had to keep going, because once her antibiotics had kicked in and we still had balance issues and dizziness, you know, obviously they have to do further investigation. So these are all, you know, I think learning points, and it's just going to be something that we keep in mind for moving forward. Yeah. Oops, look, I'm fiddling with things. Janine will be home in just over a week. I should be bringing the building materials home with her.
2 weeks or 3 weeks. She'll be home when we see her.
Yeah, but you know, it's actually good, because this gives her space to go and get what has been very distracting. It's very difficult having a home elsewhere where, you know, had we not had this little diversion on the road, you know, she would have been spending.
Excuse me, sorry.
She would be spending her winters down there, and we would be living a sort of like slightly different balance in her life. So, you know, she's had to make big changes to make sure that she's got the place properly shut down or moved over to being able to support itself. I don't think it helps when she's sitting there, and I think probably for the first time in her life got a tornado warning, at which point she's like, well, I don't have a basement, where do I go? And I think she was up most of the night wondering, you know, because it was a bit touch or go. There was lots of heavy rain, heavy wind, and this tornado warning that was lingering. And she ended up, where did she go? She went to an area of the house that she thought was the most suitable, given the fact that she doesn't have a basement. And then her neighbour said, no, you should have gone to the utility room. So she will know in future years should this weather come in. But these are all things that are pretty pertinent points at this precise moment in time. So she needs to go and get that sorted out so that it takes some of the pressure that she's not got a foot in Massachusetts and a foot in South Carolina. It isn't particularly what we had expected, a position to be in maybe a year and a half ago, but that's the position we're in now, and she's just going to have to, it's actually a tremendous sacrifice, in all honesty, because she's given up like the culmination of this building project, which was the realisation of a long-held dream, and that long-held dream, she has very willingly put on the back burner to accommodate Carlene's failing health. So, I don't think anybody can say that she shouldn't have time here, time away down there to get this all sorted, and give her the space that she needs to get it in order so that she's clear here. So we're just, and we cope, we get on with things, we move forward. Snail's pace, but there's nothing wrong with snail's pace, thank you very much. And we all rally round and we all get it worked out. So that's what happens when you're part of a team, especially part of a crazy team. Oh, congratulations, Elena. She and Jimmy have been together for a year now.
Oh, wow. That doesn't seem that long, actually.
No, that's amazing. And he's a super boy. A super team. How did you get trapped in a stall?
I didn't really get trapped. What happened was I went in to do something in the stall, and when I was finished doing it, there was 2 horses out in the vestibule outside the stall.
In the aisle, the barn aisle.
And the another horse at the entrance. So it just looked a bit... I mean, like everything, I was playing it for dramatic effect. And but the one thing I remember Janine saying to me was, don't get caught in that aisle with more than one horse, because it's a pretty narrow and small, tight space, particularly when 1 or 2 of the doors are open.
Well, it's not actually that it's the aisle itself is regulation size, but the way the door's been put on, the entrance is like a people-sized door. Yeah. So what we really need to do is take down part of the outside, because the sliding door covers the whole entrance. So we really need to widen the entrance to the barn, and that would give escape space for Nick.
Yeah.
For when he gets in tricky situations.
The other thing in there is the floor is very uneven.
It's cobbled. Yeah,
it's cobbled. So it's a little, the horses can find it a little tricky.
They slip on it,
and they can slip on it, and they get, horses, they just get startled easy. So the last thing you'd want to be is in between 2 horses who get spooked and want to bolt or jump or kick. So I very sensibly called my wife, who didn't pick the phone up, because she was feeding Gammy.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and waited patiently until assistance was coming. I resisted temptation to call the police and the fire service. So
at least he didn't scream. That would have been embarrassing.
But yeah, it was all fine. Just another calamity.
Well, no, it was actually the sensible thing to do, believe it or not, because
which I'm not noted for.
No, he's not.
I'm not noted for doing the sensible thing, to be honest.
So I was actually quite impressed.
Yeah.
was even more impressed that he got cell service. That was the really impressive part from down there.
Could have been down there a while.
You could have been down there a while until I realised that you were missing.
Yeah.
Just thought a goat would have eaten you. So the thing was, when he called, I was like, I'm not going to pick this up. I'm not going to pick this up, because I was sitting on a log outside and I was hand feeding Jemmy, and it was super, and she was doing really well, and she kept coming over. She was eating from my hand, and I was able to sort of like put a finger down and stroke her muzzle, and this was great. And then the phone rang, and she looked at me, her eyes went wide, and she just backed off, stood at the fence and was like, I'm not coming near you if you're going to be ringing. So she disappeared off, and then I was like, well, I give up, defeated. And I was like, which idiot called me right now? And I was like, oh, it's the husband. And he's stuck in a stall by horses. So I thought, we best go. But he's okay, and he's over his trauma. He's a big brave boy, big brave soldier. Yeah. Right. 2 lovebirds, 2 chickens. Yes, they would. The problem with attaching anything to the walls, it had to be attached to the sliding door, which would be super. But the problem, Linda, with attaching anything, and this is about double snaps work to keep Penny from opening the gate in HQ. The problem with the walls is they are breeze block covered with, what's that stuff on the floor? Epoxy. And to drill through it, it's a bit beyond my capacity, because I'm absolutely useless with power tools. But I don't want to do anything to remedy this issue, because the dog side of it's not quite finished, and I'm not sure, and we're putting a different door on here as well. So I want to wait and see before I start drilling holes in the wall and get into trouble. You know, this is really funny. It says, do you know Jemmy was chewing or gnawing on the door going out of the stall? I don't know what's going on at the moment, but everybody seems to be having a bit of a nibble on wood at the moment. And sometimes it's a deficiency in their vitamins and minerals. Sometimes it's just that's a really very tasty piece of wood. And sometimes it can just be a habit or boredom. And there's no rhyme nor reason to it, but I certainly will have a look at it, because we can put bitter apple on it, which is just unpleasant stuff. There's a lot to chew on outside. We're coming.
Maybe it's just because they're stuck inside today because of the rain.
Yeah, that's when you get really bad behaviour. One of the goats head-butted, little stinkers. Well, the goats, hopefully, I'm just waiting for the base level of soil to defrost up in that, the goat pen that's up the hill, because it's the hay. I need to get that hay up and away out of there. But we've still got, it's like permafrost. It's like still stuck to the ground. So every day I go in and stick a fork in it and go, yeah, get in there. It's a bit, but I want to get that cleared before I put them back in. So thank you for noticing that. And yes, those goats are pains in the butt. Ooh, cookies with marmalade. That actually sounds quite pleasant. Good, yeah. It's those blinking horned goats. Little poops. Well, somebody needs to bless you. Yes, we spoke about that when your package came in, Fernanda. You said that you wanted us to keep it for Carleen, and it is... Where did we put it? Is it over there? No, we put it aside because there's another package.
There's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, they're up there. So that's in the background. That's the stuff that came in for Carleen to open. Goldy's is always working its magic, I can tell you. Oh, that horse, that's the horse, Fernando, that I was talking about earlier on. The atmospheric pressure dropped. The horse was just, he was just a bit disturbed by it. And it's funny because some animals, it's like children. If you let children out in windy weather, they come back in and they're high as kites. And some animals are just very sensitive to drops in atmospheric pressure. And the same.
I'm a bit like that.
He's a bit like that. What, do you run around screaming as well?
No, I feel, I just sometimes don't
You get
feel quite
migraines.
right when the barometric pressure changes. Yeah.
Yeah, because you get migraines, don't you?
Get migraine and start running around the house
Screaming.
Screaming like wild and playing with the dogs.
Oh, dearie me.
Get the zoomies.
Get the zoomies.
Yeah, but that before the bit you didn't see there, Fernando, was like I was in, or maybe you did see it on the camera, but before Elizabeth was dealing with him, I was clearing the muck in the arena, and he was running round in circles, and he came running into the arena, would run round in a circle, and then run back out of the arena, and all the donkeys would follow him, like, hey, this is great fun.
Yeah.
And he was doing that for about 5 minutes, just running around like he had the zoomies, you know.
And I actually got him into the stall on at least 2 occasions. It might even have been a third. So when I bring him in to have his evening meal and put him to bed for the night, I bring him in from the paddock side, and then I go out through the aisle side. On 2 occasions, I got him in from the paddock side, was moving in to go past him to go out the aisle side and just lock him in for the night. And he turned on me on both occasions, and it was a case of I was going to end up being run over by the horse. So I was like, well, after you, since you're so much bigger than me. And he was running in and running out. He was just he sometimes gets a bit frantic, you know, when things aren't quite right. He's super sensitive. So I did get to the stage thinking, you know, I've got everybody else put in position here. Everybody's been fed. Everybody's bedded down for the night with their pajamas on and everything apart from Humility, who is running around like a very silly boy. So eventually I got to the stage where I was like when he self-loaded himself into the stall, and he was about to make a very swift about turn to come charging back out, and I just stayed paddock side and slid the door shut. So then when he was in the stall, I had to go and I had to take myself through the paddocks, through the muck heap and out the door and back round the other side. And when I came into the barn, all I could hear was him screaming in disgust. So he was not a happy boy. He was extremely annoyed that he'd been foiled. So that's just what he does. And I'll tell you, when I came down this morning to let everybody out, I thought, uh-oh, he's terribly quiet. I thought he's either still in a very bad mood or something's happened to him overnight. But he was fine. So I'm hoping he gets bedded down a bit quicker and quieter today. But maybe not. What do you do to protect your own? Is that to be protect? Yes.
Protect your own.
To protect Nick. Well, I should probably take his phone call when he's in a panic, stuck in the stall.
Take his car keys off him.
Take his car keys away from him.
Don't give him any money.
We don't give him any money, and then I know he stays at home.
To protect your own.
Well, I think one of the things that, and one of the policies that we have as an organisation, both on Meredith and on here, is that, you know, we are, nobody should be put in a position whereby they're dealing with animals that they are potentially, that could potentially cause problems. So we don't knowingly put people into a paddock where there's animals that could be harmful to them in any way, shape or form.
I think the first part of that is with the person, like where just knowing that what you're not comfortable doing and knowing what feels dangerous, and if it feels dangerous, it probably very well might be. So I just like, I mean, one of the strange things I do, and I'm not even sure if this is the correct thing to do.
Do I need to know?
I very, very rarely walk round the back of a horse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always walk around the front, like even if it means going out of the way, and you know, when you're moving a wheelbarrow or something, I always try and go around the front, because I just feel that way you're less likely to be in danger. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other things, and this is something that I'm very keen on, is I do encourage people not to have treats, because if you have treats,
You smell them.
they're like treat-seeking missiles, this lot. They smell them in your pockets. If you've got residual treats in your hands, they smell them in your hands. And then from the goats to the donkeys to the horses to the cows, you're fair game.
Yeah, one of the highlights of the day that you'll probably see in about half hour or 45 minutes is Elizabeth and I attempting to make it across the arena with some large plastic buckets full of feed for the 2 horses in Tanner's barn, whilst fending off goats and donkeys. Whoever else happens to be around.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to, like, it's like watching Pac-Man.
Oh, it's awful.
They're trying to get into the buckets and still, it's pretty funny. And
you have to go at a certain speed, because they all try and get there, and you've lost it. If you get a goat nose inside one of those buckets,
yeah,
the bucket's gone, and that's it. It's
like
game over.
I think I'll go like, you know.
I know, and then you twirl.
And you go, sort of. It's hysterical.
It's
especially the goats.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like the safety dance.
And you got to kind of hold the thing up while you're doing
it. I know, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. But they are well intent on retrieving the buckets from you, which is very kind of them, but it's not really the destination. And it's and we actually have a solution to this problem, because we're going to utilise, once we take down the fencing that was left, that was is outside the Tanner's barn side of the arena, where all the holes are. We're going to put a pathway in so that you can come out the back of the feed room, go down the path, and in the back of Tanner's barn. So that then means that you don't have to run the gauntlet going through where all the other animals are.
Somebody will figure it out.
And I tell you, the donkeys...
They'll go around the bottom and then come around that other little bit where there's...
No, you're going in the side of Tanner's barn, not in the front.
I know, but darling, sometimes they go round that side.
Yes, but it will have to be closed off, because they can't go round that side. So anyway, and one of the worst ones is actually Angus and Max, because they run ahead of you and they try to kick you. Honestly, that's why you have to move very fast. I tell you, you got to attempt to be one step ahead. I'm not saying we are one step ahead, but you've got to at least attempt it. And honestly, wrestling with blinking Elvis to try and make sure that he doesn't get into anybody else's food, that's like a real struggle, that one. He is just pushy. And yeah, what a pest. Anyway, getting there, and everybody's fed and they're all living, and that's all we need to know. And they're all actually quite happy. They're just so full of personality. They're lovely. Yes, I think Janine is still on schedule for her kidney at the moment. They are close enough to gold. Thank you very much.
I promise you, like, even if you did send gold ones, they end up brown soon enough.
They do in our place. Yeah. Carlene's actually very good at staying hydrated. She tallies up the number of empty bottles she drinks, because she's got a big drinking flask. No, Wallace is training tomorrow night, and he should be training 4 nights out of 5. And the 5 nights that we have at the moment are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. And it's given that one of those nights will be dropped. So that allows him to have the time to be off dealing with anything else that he needs to. Janine just gets on with it. she's been getting on with it all her life. So they are finishing off in the White House. I hope Cleveland got hold of Judy for where the handles need to go. Yes, they were working with Judy to get the proper placement for the grab bars for in the bathroom and all the other safety aids that were to be put in place. So it should be en route. I'm keeping out of that because I'd put them at the wrong level. No. Nothing.
Yeah, I need to just get in the habit of using it more often.
Oh, thank you, Susan.
Yeah, breeze blocks, yeah.
Yeah, I keep getting into trouble for calling them breeze blocks. And people say, what are you talking about? I'm like, the concrete blocks with the holes in the middle. And are they called cinder blocks here?
Yeah, cinder blocks.
I tell you.
We call them breeze blocks. I don't know why.
No, because they're breezy. They've got holes in them, obviously. But it's terrible. It's like all lost in translation, I'm telling you.
I think breeze blocks sounds nicer.
Yeah, it's far more picturesque, picturesque. Not attached to the wall. Clip one bar on the swinging gate to a bar on the stationary part. Ah, yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. To keep the door shut, she jumps the gate. So it's a sliding door. We've got the problem with the gate.
And also the gate isn't.
The gate's not tall enough.
Well, it's also easy to just push open.
Yes, but what Linda was suggesting was that we use a double-ended snap for the swing part, so we can, like we would do with chains. But the problem is she actually, before she realised she could push the gate open, she just jumped it. So that's why we have to keep the sliding door shut. We've got everything going on here.
It's so funny. I was mopping the floor in the house yesterday at the room where the fireplace is, and to aid the drying of the floor, I just opened the window out to the back. Just the window on the wall, just a crack about this much, just to let air in so it would dry quicker. I went and did something else for 30 seconds. I came back into the room and there's a dog sitting in it. It managed to push the window up with its nose and actually jump back into the living room. It was just sitting there like, I'm here.
Made it. I love these little challenges in life.
And all the other dogs were standing there going, wow, that was cool.
Yeah, definitely. Little monkeys. Oh, House and Diddles.
Diddles is good. Yeah.
He is.
He's just very affectionate.
He just loves Nick.
Mm-hmm. Every 10 minutes or so, he just comes up and sees me on the table and
he does.
Wants cuddles, and then he goes off and does something, and then he comes back 10 minutes later, wants cuddles, goes and does something. He's very sweet. He's a really nice little dog. Nick loves him. I do. I love him. He is. He's lovely. He's adorable. He's a very nice He's hysterical. Yeah. He's good fun. The only thing that's bad about him is his bark. It yaps. It's it makes your ears bleed, doesn't it? It's like having a cheese grater in your eardrums. It really is awful. Oh. And the funny thing is, he sleeps. Honestly, he's probably the smallest dog we've got. Actually, he is. He is the smallest dog we've got, and every night he just gets in the middle of the bed and he lies his head on Nick's pillow. And he just snuggles down and he goes for his wee snooze. And then sometimes he gets a wee bit hot. And then he comes back about half an hour later and he snuggles down for his wee snooze. But we've now realised about 9:30 at night, he comes and he stands beside Nick's chair in the sitting room. Then he wanders off to the bedroom and then he comes back and he looks at Nick. And then he wanders off to the bedroom and then he comes back and he looks at Nick. And he's like, come on now.
And then Nick turns around and says to me, I gotta go, Noodles is ready for bed.
He is. And him and the other dog, Annie, they're like, oh gosh, I'm so tired. Let's go to bed. Oh, wow.
They do.
And then they jump bound onto the bed and...
They do. So he beetles off to bed about 9:30 with the dogs. I'm like, fine, don't mind me.
It's funny. They're like that every evening.
They are. They're very routine orientated, and I get in there and I've got one dog lying where my legs would be on my side of the bed, and then I've got Noodles. And he's lying, and I have to take my pillow off the bed because otherwise he lies right on top of it. So then I've got Noodles in position, and that dog dead weights because he knows fine well that I'm coming to lift him to push him over to Nick's side. So he gives me that sort of stink eye as if to say, I don't know where you've been. I don't know what you think you're doing.
What kind of time is this?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I'm getting into bed now.
That time was 2 hours ago.
I know. But he's so sweet. He's really lovely. No, Wallace is training tomorrow. Oh, humility is part of the Thoroughbred retraining scheme, and we're just trying to work on his ground manners, his forward propulsion, and I think, with the person with the rescue that owns Humility and Wallace, and what we've seen is he needs somebody who's very competent, very aware of his capacity to try and lead the organisation, because he's really very forward.
Yeah.
So we're looking for somebody who's looking for a super fast horse who can turn on a penny and really has some pretty impressive skills.
Okay. But you failed to answer the question, darling. The question was, what are the plans for Humidity?
Oh, I thought she meant the horse.
I think she probably did. But what are your plans for Humidity?
I don't want to talk about humidity. Look at my hair.
Turn up the air conditioning and have very frizzy hair.
I know. I don't do humidity ever.
Okay.
Ever. I hate it. I hate hot weather. And I actually feel quite sad. It's coming into that hot, yucky stuff. Honestly, it's ridiculous. I don't know what you do with humidity. Some people seem to cope with it. It's maybe because I wasn't born in a hot and humid country. Yeah, it's a bit much. So I'm going to be like dragged through a hedge backwards until round about November. Yeah, tell you. Anyway, not much we can do about it. I actually have considered getting like close to a buzz cut, and then I thought to myself, you know what? It has to grow out. Yeah, I know. I can't be bothered with it. I really find hair extremely annoying. But I look like a boy if I don't have hair in my head. That much I do know. So. And anyway, one of us has got grey hair.
Grey hair. I've only got like 3 or 4.
Yeah, and it's not him.
It's probably Noodles.
It's probably Noodles. No. No. Oh, protect our eyes. Oh, but all the dust and yucky stuff. I use eye drops in the evening if they get bad. And it's with hay, the hay's dusty, everything's dusty, and your eyes seem to cope with it. But sometimes you do have to put eye drops in at night time to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually reattached the head a couple of times, but they're very good at taking it. They play tug of war with it, and I think it just comes apart. So I'll try and do surgery on the chicken again this evening.
Listen, it's making them really happy.
Mm-hmm. They're like, oh my God, I killed it.
Again. Yes! Score. You're so naughty. Oh, yeah. I walked past a crypt orchid horse, which is a horse that's been gelded, but one of the testicles has been left, so they're still pretty stallion-like. I walked past it, minding my own business. The horse was also minding its own business inside the stall, and I was walking. I wasn't wandering. I was walking. It quickly put its head over and bit me on the way by. I was like, oh. So I am always I'm very cautious with the front of horses, the back of horses, and sometimes the side, because when you're walking past them, some of them have got very flexible necks. There is a feed room at Tanner's, but it's got hay and shavings in it at the moment.
And sometimes goats.
And sometimes goats. So, and goats can get the lids off. It's quite difficult. You really want to try, and the only reason I use the feed room at Tanner's is if we have quarantine in. So if it's quarantine, everything's down there and it's all self-sufficient, and it's not in quarantine at the moment. So we're in general usage. And so it's good to have everything in a central position, because otherwise you end up with open feed bags all over the place. And then, you know, if there's no animals in Tanner's, and if it's hot, it goes a bit rancid if you don't use it quickly enough. So
we keep hay down, a few bales of hay down there, and some shavings.
And some goats. Did I mention the goats?
But not really feed.
No.
I'm like I go into the feed room to stuff hay bags, and then when the goats come in, they're trying to unstuff the hay bags.
And the one that's actually the worst, in fact, there's two others apart from the goats. Wilbur is terrible, and also Magnus the donkey. Yeah. It's like a private. Yeah.
Well, there's one of them. Magnus is quite sweet, actually, because when I'm doing the stall, very often the other animals are just away doing something else, or in the arena, or out back, and he'll come by on his own and just
hangs out with you.
You know, goes into one of the horse stalls and, you know, gets first goes at the hay bag. Yeah.
He's a nice wee thing.
So he likes to have a little quiet eat on his own. Oh,
camouflage. This lot I tell you, it's their noses. They know fine well what's in anything, this lot. They
can hear you making it.
Yeah. And they can.
They can smell it from the arena. So it's like running the gauntlet. It's like that game Frogger.
Yeah. It's like bounce, 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 log to log to log to log. Oh, dearie, dearie me. Heather, as far as I'm aware, and I don't arrange these things, that's Janine and Judy, she's going to be staying for 2 nights once Carleen comes home. And then after that, I'm not sure, but I do know that she's on schedule somewhere. Oh, see, now you've messed me up, Fernanda. You put hello Bella and Ziti, how are you two doing, in capitals, and now I look at it and think it's a question. Oh, good grief. No. Oh, he's not complaining about Noodles. That much I can tell you. That Noodles has rivals me in Nick's affections, I can tell you. Isn't that right?
No.
What, you mean he's got better fluffy hair? Oh, good question. Good answer. Good save. Yes, you can at some point, but you can't do it right now, because if I open that door right now, I'll have the pair of them in, and then I'll be searching for things they've stolen. Little stinkers. Yep. See, everybody hates humidity.
Some people hate humility too.
No, they don't. Oh, I've got one of those neck cooling fans, and they're super, but I run out of them really quickly.
We need to get that fired up.
That's probably because I've got it on full blast from first thing in the morning when everybody else is just ramping up for the day, and I'm like, oh, too much, too much. Well, so the problem with everything, when it comes to doing barn chores, when it gets a bit hot, a bit warmer, and a bit more humid, is that if you put goggles on, they mist up so you can't see them. And if you put gloves on, your hands get really hot and sweaty. So it's a bit of a hit or miss situation. Yeah. Well, we don't seem to have the sea coast breezes. That's what we don't have, because we're too far in. Oh, there's where we need to move. We need to move to Sequim in Washington.
Is that Washington State? Yeah?
I presume so. Because
It'll probably rain a lot though, darling.
Well, how come they have minimal humidity then if it rains?
I think it's just... It's very like Scottish climate, actually.
No, the birds are not down here quite yet. They're going behind me. Ooh. Right, okay. Idaho's maybe out as well then, if it's crispy weather. Honestly.
I like that one.
Do you? Wow. Oh, Janine will be back for that, but then again, it might be a virtual court case, so I'm not 100% sure when that is.
And it might get cancelled.
It might get cancelled because that's... Yes. Yes, one never can tell. Yeah, it is incredible heat and humidity. There we are. That's us. We've done Monday.
Excellent. We better go because it's actually after 6 and we've got a lot to do.
Okay, that's me told. Okay, sorry. Right, so hopefully Caroline will be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow, and then we'll take it from there.
All right, everyone. Have a good evening.
Night night.